I used to believe my family loved me. Not because they said it, but because my grandfather did. When my parents were too busy chasing their own lives, he was the one who stayed. He taught me how to use my hands, how to keep my word, how to stay kind even when kindness wasn't returned. And when he passed, I thought all I'd have left were those lessons. Turns out I was wrong. He left me more. But I didn't know that yet. At the will reading, I walked in wearing black slacks and a pressed shirt, hands folded in my lap, heart steady. Everyone else looked like they were heading to brunch. My cousin laughed into his phone, his fiancée whispering about lakefront property. My aunt had champagne in her tote bag. My mother never once looked at me. The lawyer, not my grandfather's, someone new, handed us envelopes. Mine was empty, just a blank page staring back at me like a cruel joke. Across the table, my cousin shouted, 150 grand, baby, and high-fived my brother. The court popped, glasses clinked, and I sat there invisible. I leaned toward the lawyer. There's nothing in here. She didn't blink. Your grandfather revised the will shortly before his death. Your portion was rescinded. Rescinded. My mother finally turned to me, her voice sweet and slow, like syrup over poison. Daniel, maybe he thought you didn't need it. I left before they could see my hands shake. That night, I sat in my car until the sun came up. No one called. No one checked on me. For months, I lived in a cramped apartment over a diner kitchen, listening to the clatter of plates at 2 a.m., wondering if I'd imagined it all. My grandfather's trust, his love, my place in his life. I dug through court filings called Lawyers Chase Shadows. Every door slammed shut. Then one rainy Monday, a knock at the door. 3 deliberate raps. I opened it to find a man in a charcoal suit, leather briefcase in hand. Mr. Hayes, he said, I'm the court-appointed executive of your grandfather's sealed will. Inside, he laid 2 documents on my table. One was stamped and sealed by the county court. The other I recognized instantly, was the fake will they'd read at the firm. Someone filed a forgery, he said. The one your family saw. The real will never removed you. I stared at him, my throat dry. So, the inheritance very much intact, he said. And under the law, you were never cut out. In the sealed will, my name was beside 42% of the estate, land, stocks, a trust account I'd never heard of. And one more thing, the controlling stake in Hayes Antiques and Holdings. It hadn't been sold like they claimed. The so-called liquidation papers forged. Even the notary stamp belonged to a woman who had been dead 2 years before the signature date. They hadn't just stolen from me, they'd erased me. Within weeks, the court froze the assets. Hayes Antiques went under supervision. I was granted a protective order, not from strangers, but from my own relatives. The voicemails came first. My cousin's voice breaking between outrage and panic. Text from my aunt shifting from denial to pleading. And my mother, she showed up on my porch in pearls, holding a thermos, smiling that PDA smile she used to wear. Danny, we should talk. We're still family. I didn't open the door. The investigation moved fast. Emails surfaced. Conversations recorded. Plans laid out like blueprints for betrayal. Forged signatures, false medical reports, offshore transfers, and then came the letter. It was in my grandfather's handwriting, dated 6 weeks before he died. If you're reading this, it began. It means they did exactly what I feared. He wrote about how he'd seen them circling for years. How he made sure I'd be protected. And then you never asked me for anything. That's why I left you the key to the trust, to the land, to everything they will try to take from you. I didn't cry for the money. I cried because it meant I hadn't imagined it. I mattered to him. Court day came. My mother sat pale and rigid. My cousin cried before the judge even spoke. The ruling reinstated the real will. I didn't celebrate. I just breathed a full breath for the first time in months. Afterward, the executive handed me a small note for words in black ink. Daniel Hayes, sole trustee. The silence that followed was the truest verdict. No more calls, no more lectures, just absence. One afternoon, I drove out to the land. 42 untouched acres. The cabin still stood dust-thick on the mantel. There was a photo of me at 8 years old, hair messy, holding a fishing rod, grinning like I belonged. I sat in my grandfather's chair and let the quiet wrap around me. This was mine, not just the property, the choice, the memory, the proof that I was worth protecting. I didn't return their calls. I didn't respond to reporters. I didn't go looking for revenge. I wanted peace, and I kept the promise I made to myself the night that knock came. I would move forward, but not with them. Justice didn't arrive with applause. It came in court orders and frozen accounts, in the way their voices finally went quiet. And I learned something. Silence isn't always loyalty. Sometimes it's complicity. And I don't owe anyone my silence anymore. You can survive betrayal. You can rebuild from broken trust. And sometimes the most powerful thing you'll ever do is walk away without burning a single thing and never look.